Good afternoon, everyone. Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading doing the nightly market update for Wednesday, June the 18th. Happy Wednesday. Hope everybody's doing great. Happy Fed Day, happy Hump Day. And don't forget, tomorrow is a holiday, so the market will not be open tomorrow. But let's talk about what happened today. We had Fed Day today. I was going to say the much anticipated Fed meeting, but it was not really that much anticipated because the expectation was for no rate cut, and that's kind of what we got. Let me pull this down here. This is the ES, and as you can see, this is where we opened, and that's where we closed. A whole lot of nothing. We went up a little bit, down a little bit. Fed announcement, I think here. We went up and down, and commentary started I think here, and then we came down and did a whole bunch of nothing. So all that for nothing, but that's kind of what was expected. That's what was built into the bond market. They were saying not much is going to happen. In fact, there was a 99.9% chance of no rate cut, and that's what we got. Now the Fed is in a Powell is in a strange place, in a predicament, because the market wants to know, everyone wants to know when are we going to get some rate cuts? When are we going to get rate cuts? And Powell is trying to say, we're going to wait on the data to confirm that we need to. And now everybody's very skeptical because remember, when they were raising rates, it was inflation's transitory, we don't need to raise it, and they waited way too long. And now they're thinking that maybe he's waiting too long to start cutting rates. And then Trump is putting pressure on him. So that is, I would not want to be in Powell's shoes right now. So he can't cut too soon or too late, or cut too much or cut too little. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But we have Fed meetings. Of course, we got July Fed meeting. Nothing's going to happen there, I don't believe. We're expected to get the first rate cut at the September meeting, and then another one maybe in December. So they did say that there was a path to 2 rate cuts this year. So that's probably the most likely scenario. And why is that important to us as traders? Obviously that could give us some really nice tailwind and push us higher. So let's look at the market here and kind of see what that might look like. So I'm going to stick with the ES here. It's easiest just to look at the ES as a broad representation of the market. And as you can see, there's all-time high right there. And we're very, very close. All we need is one more push higher and we'll be there. And who knows when we get there? Do we get, does it do like this and we get rejected? Probably a couple times before going through. I don't know. We'll look at the economic calendar here in a minute and see if we're going to get more tailwind or headwind. Now, obviously we could fail back here to fire line, back to snow line before then coming up, or or anywhere in between. I did a video on hedging, the big SPY hedges that we had seen over the last week or so, and those are targeting down here back to this level, out to the end of July and one out to the end of August. But anyway, so it's a giant, a big giant question mark. Who knows what's going to happen? We obviously have to take it day by day. Now, we'll say this: the market is overbought on the upside. However, money is still flowing in. We can stay overbought and still continue to go higher. So that's not an immediate concern for me at this point. But it's starting to, be a lot more. I'm starting to be a lot more cautious here and starting to put on a little bit of hedging. But in any case, let me show you, or one last thought on this. There's also a possibility that we do get kind of like a blow off top here, and like just take those out, and then that really opens us up for what could be a little more down here. But we're not there yet, and there's no way to really know that without getting more data and that kind of stuff in. So let's look at the economic calendar real quick. We know that next week on the 27th we have PCE. That is probably the number one thing the Fed watches, is PCE. Don't forget the 19th, tomorrow the market's closed. 27th is PCE. We have going into July, of course, 4th of July that week. We have next CPI is on the 15th, I believe, and then I think PPI is on the 16th. And then, of course, we have Fed meeting on the 30th out here. So a lot's going to be coming up out here. And then, in addition to that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have earnings starting that week. I think Netflix is there on the 17th. So we've got a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks. Now, we have been in a kind of range-bound market here. With this being, you see our fire line here. Now this is ES, but on SPX, it's basically 5,900 is big level of support, and 6,100 on this SPX is kind of our curbs on the upside and the downside on the market, and that's where we've been lately, and that's probably where we will be. I would say maybe even up until 4th of July or somewhere around there. Now we could see some weakness into next week. It all depends. Again, we've got a lot coming up, so hard to read and hard to know what to say. I am still very much overly bullish. So, I do have a little bit of hedging. I tried to put a little hedging on today, but the vols didn't come off enough for me to get to the price that I wanted to pay for my little hedge I was going to add on. So I'm totally comfortable just waiting because I'm not that worried about any kind of major downdraft from here outside of some unexpected news, right? So let me show you real quick. Again, I was talking about this in a kind of tight, fairly tight range-bound market. I mentioned this yesterday. This is very cool. If you saw this, now I'm on X, Twitter, X, whatever. It's just it's Bruce Marshall Trade, or excuse me, Bruce Marshall Trade is Trading Bruce. But I posted this. This was yesterday. Let's see if I can enlarge this a little bit more. All right, and I said, nice big straddle of the pivot point, SPX 6000. This is for the AM tomorrow, which the market will be closed. This is kind of interesting. For this week's options expiration. Don't forget we have Fed Powell tomorrow, so anything can happen, but this suggests a possible muted response. The S&P was down, 1.75 today or something like that. Very, very muted response from the market. Down, 1.85, the market was down. So, this is a big giant straddle at 6,000, right? And again, 255,000 times, right? So that is, I haven't done the math, but that's a big, that's a very big trade, right? And so far it looks like it's going to be a win. So let me show you what happened. So again, follow me on X. I post this stuff all the time, and a lot of us from Simpler, we share posts and tag each other and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there that you can find that we're always posting. So anyway, check this out. So let's look. Let me pull it over here. So what happened to that big straddle? And let me show you. So it is still there. Check it out. This is the kind of bizarre part. 250,000, 258,000 at 6,000. Now that is for tomorrow, but tomorrow the market's closed. So this is an AM expiration, right? You see right there, AM. So they will, I guess in theory, they'll live or die by the kind of opening print on Friday morning, not Thursday. I think they will be fine. I think Friday will probably be another calm day. Now, I can't tell. Look at this. There's 50,000 here, 50,000 there. There's 30,000 there, about 27 there. 50,000 there, 50,000 there. So they could be hedging this stuff off somewhat, right? But I don't know. The other thing, I'm assuming this is sold, and I don't know. I don't know if it's bought or sold. I tried to check the price and it looked like it was sold to me. I don't know why anybody would buy it. Let's see. So down here, it is a big trade, and if this is right, they're up about 50 million bucks on this trade already. 250,000 contracts, not 250 contracts, 250,000. They have a lot of range here, or a decent amount of range here, about 100 points, and they have many boatloads of theta. Now I did it backwards to say, would you buy this, right? Look at that negative theta. I don't think you would buy this, because this thing will implode like you've never seen on Friday. So they basically, at this point, unless we get a massive sell-off or a massive gap higher, this is a total loser. And I don't think anybody putting on anything that size would do that kind of risk without the ability to hedge it or offset or something like that. Again, we don't know, but that's what it appears to me. But the point is, whoever's doing that is expecting a calm market. So let me show you one other thing really, really cool. So today, you guys heard about Captain Condor. I posted this today on X this morning before the open, and I said we got fed today. Watch these levels here. This is for today, 18 June, today. 6035, 6040, 5910, 5915, right? That is a $29,000 or 29,000 contract iron condor. Pretty decent size, right? Well, let's see what happened. 59. Okay, so this went. There it is. It went to full profit. Let me center it better for us here. All right there, 59, 10, 15. You see those? And then here, 60, 35, 45, and they're dead in the center. That's max profit, 29,000 times. Now I don't know how much they got for that. I priced out this morning. It was going for like $1 or $2 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. I was putting a lot of trades together, but the point is it worked perfectly. The theory is that this was Captain Condor who did one yesterday and it did not work, and he actually doubled up. Says yesterday there was one like this and it was 11,000 contracts and it did not work, and he rides them to the end. They weren't, as far as I can tell, they probably weren't sold. There's a lot of volume out here, but that's to be expected on any 0 to T trade. So anyway, watch this stuff. It's pretty interesting. You can figure some stuff out too as well as you go. And again, let's go back out here on the longer term time frame and look at SPX. And the Nasdaq's the same way. We're really pushing all-time high. The Dow is not. The IWM rut is not. But this is still looking good. I'm very cautiously bullish, but we got the higher we go here, the more we have to be careful. So one last thing, I want to show you guys a quick trade real quick for those that did this trade with me. We did a trade on AEM. It worked great. This is a gold producer basically, but we did a covered call on this thing, something really simple. We did let's see, hold on a second. Again, I got multiple accounts open here. Okay, here we go. On AEM, so we just bought the stock. Bought the stock at 116. We wrote a covered call. Bought it at 116. Wrote a covered call at 125. Boring, all right? We caught a 40-cent dividend that is included in there because I got 250 for the call and then 40 cents for the dividend. Right there, 40 cents. See right there, 40 cents. Right, dividend 40 cents. So pretty boring, right? Well, it's worth 11,900 bucks on Friday. It's up 9,300 bucks right now. And I'm assuming it's going to go up and this will get called away, and it is at 122.65, and we've been, let's see, Well, we were at 129 on last Friday. So anyway, that should get called away. It's worth almost 12,000 bucks. Pretty cool. If it doesn't, guess what? We'll come back out here and we'll go out maybe another month and I'll sell another one for $2.50, $3, whatever I can get, and we'll just keep it going, right? And just keep adding to that profit. Because I still like the stock. I still think it goes higher. Everything looks great. Everything's on track. It's a beautiful looking chart. Everything's great, right? The other one is Calm. I know some of you guys got this that were in the main room with me and the bias room too. Great looking stock. Did the same thing. We did a quick, actually sold some naked puts. I got put to, got a dividend, sold. These expire Friday, so does the AEM, expires Friday. Sold 100 call, got $2 for that. Plus, we picked up a $3 and say 50-cent dividend, right? So this will get called out. Check it out over here, 17,550 bucks. So those two together are worth 30,000 bucks, 29,450 bucks. Now the reason I mention it is because a bunch of people took this trade with me, but I'm going to be out on Friday, and guess what? I don't care if it gets called away. I make 30,000 bucks roughly. If it doesn't, I'll come in and I'll sell some more premium. So this is a very slow and steady kind of way to do it. And this kind of frees you up to do, for trading the other stuff. I mean, we did a nice trade in Meta. We got a lot of trades going on, but this stuff you don't really have to watch. And I'm not really worried about, that's a beautiful looking chart, I'm not really worried about babysitting a trade or really even watching it. I've looked at those trades a handful of times, that I've had them on. So anyway, wanted to go over that real quick. We do these all the time, or set these things up all the time. And if you want to see more of that, come join me in the bias room where we do them. I do them in the main room too, but come in the bias room and we go over all the setups and so forth of those. So anyway, all right, well, lastly, watch the volatility. The VIX is, let me pull it back up here real quick. The VIX is we're back to 20. We had gotten down, it's down $1.46. We had gotten down into a 16 range a couple of weeks ago. It spiked back up a little bit. Watch the volatility as we go into the next week or so, but I'm expecting calm next week, probably, choppy, range bound kind of stuff, again, with basic parameters on the S&P, 5,900 to 6,100 until we break out on either side of that. Let me show you this shorter time frame. Something like this. There's 61, there's 59, something like that. And so we'll be in this range. Obviously, we'll break out higher here on good news, or break out lower here if bad news or something unexpected. So anyway, keep that in mind. Join us in the trading rooms. Join me in the bias room. We'll put a link down here somewhere on this video, I'm sure. We've got trial memberships to the trading rooms and stuff like that. But join us and we can help you. Let me know if I can help. And with that, let me wind it up. Hope you guys have a great holiday tomorrow. And again, I'm going to be out on Friday. So have a great weekend, and I will see you guys at the next update. Thanks. Take care.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me